Well, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Katye, who's been on the program for about 3 or 4 months now. Katye, you've had an amazing transformation so far, not just with your body in terms of the transformation you've seen there and overcoming some obstacles and limitations, etc., but particularly from a personal point of view. You've lost 9.6 kilos to date. Woohoo! Amazing result. Amazing result. Considering a young mum, 31 years of age, you've got 3 kids under 3, you're working part-time, normal, busy lifestyle in that sense of, just full in the thick of life right now. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you chose to do this program.
So before I spoke to you, I'd not long had my youngest child, and after his birth, actually, I put on a fair bit of weight, and I've had a long battle with my weight, really, and my body image, and I've tried lots of things to overcome that. Lots of diets, lots of different training programs. So basically when I just thought I'd give one more go, one more shot.
Now, this is an interesting concept to me because, we'd gone through that initial stage of you applying for the program, and obviously, we'd had that conversation on the phone, and I was mapping out with you, effectively what it is we were going to do, as we do for everyone, personalized approach. And the biggest thing we kept hitting with you was this barrier, this belief, almost this internal fear of, I've tried so many times before, I've failed so many times before, therefore I can't. And it wasn't, blatantly obvious in the sense of that wasn't the dominant thought, but it was all these excuses and objections that were popping up. And, I think we had about an hour and a half conversation where we really mapped out a solid plan, but still there was this fear in yourself that said, Jay, I don't think I can do it. And I picked up on that. And I actually said that to you, and you said, Jay, let me think about it. And I said, no, Katye, if you can't make this decision now, you're not yet ready. And here's why, because I need you to be 100% in order for this to work for you. And then I jumped in the shower because I was going out to a meeting or something like that, and I had a missed call from you on my phone. And we jumped on the phone, and you're like, Jay, I can do this. I'm in. So talk me about that headspace, because you'd had about literally a 20-minute sort of thing of just turning around in your mind saying, you know what, this is my last chance to step up and do this. What happened?
I had been thinking about all the times that I had tried before, and that was the evidence to show that I obviously just couldn't do it. And I worked through all the guilt that I had. I think that was the dominating thing, that guilt from dragging my husband and kids through that. So I was worried about continuing that behaviour, basically. But I've also got this thing where I just didn't want to lay down and let that happen. I didn't want to let it beat me.
Yeah.
So that persistence, I think, came through, and I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm either going to stay right where I am and just put up with it and accept it, or I'm going to give it one last shot and just make it happen.
Yeah. And the thing that was evident to me as well was that you said to me, Jay, because I knew, you were at a stage where your husband had changed roles and wasn't in work at that time, and you weren't working as much as what you were. And he said, Jay, I'm going to pick up an extra day to help cover things in terms of, because I know that this is something I need to do for me. This is something that, you're right, if I don't change, if I don't make this change, if I don't step up to this plate, nothing's going to change. And the thing that I'm really impressed, with your particular story, your particular journey is, again, not just the transformation from the body point of view, but the internal changes that you've had, because you've had some major hurdles and obstacles to get over and through, beyond being a young mum, 3 kids, etc., some stuff we won't go into. But every single time you've had this renewed sense of, rather than approaching those things and saying, I can't, your whole headspace has been, I can and I will. And so the thing that impresses me most about you, and I'm going to ask you to expand on this a little bit, is firstly the changed headspace, that changed sense of identity about who you are and what you're capable of. But more importantly, how you've actually broken through those really tough times where I know you've wanted to sort of throw the towel in, but then you just committed to yourself and said, no, I can do this and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So I think something that was always there was kind of this stubbornness, that I just wanted to persevere and persist with it. I did have an internal belief that I could get there, but the thing that I didn't have before is like a sense of joy about it, where this, exercising and eating well didn't need to be something else that I had to do on top of all of my other responsibilities. It was actually became, the headspace stuff that we did, like the affirmations and the morning rituals and things, became something that helped put me in a positive headspace, where training and going for my run or doing my workout was an escape for me rather than a responsibility. So it actually became a coping mechanism again. To help get through all of those hard things.
And really giving you the chance to prioritise yourself in the equation, because I know that the biggest challenge for so many young mums, the similar sort of age as you, is that they do feel guilty for taking time away from their family, when in essence you're actually contributing to your family by investing in yourself. Yeah,
that's right.
So tell me a little bit about the program in terms of how it's worked for you, because I know some people watching this will have no idea about the actual application of the program. We've never met face to face, and for some people they're like, well, how the heck does this work, and how do you feel supported and accountable? I mean, tell us about your experience, and have you felt guided, accountable every single step of the way?
Yeah, absolutely. So we get your workout every week. So, it kind of takes the thought process out of it. I just do what you lay out for me in the email that you send through each week. My eating, not really an eating plan, but the way we can put it into My Fitness Pal, and then ask for help from the girls online. Yeah, and I have found you and the girls online, you spoke about that time where I just wanted to lay down and give up. And the way we can be completely honest with each other online, where I would kind of take a step back. If I was on my own before, I would have just stopped for a long time. But then there was always you guys kind of, okay, Katie, are you coming back? Whether it be online or your phone calls, where I could just unload on you and get me back up out of my pity or whatever. And there was always that forward motion happening.
Well, you've touched on a really important point, because so many people, when they approach a lifestyle change or a training change, or maybe body weight change or whatever it might be, they put so much emphasis on the end outcome, in terms of I've got a 15 kilo weight loss goal, I'm not happy until I get to that point. It's like they approach it from this point of view of outcome, and this almost segregates themselves from that goal, and almost disconnects themselves from themselves as well. And I know what we've done with you, and I do with a lot of my clients, is to bring you back to the grassroots of, well, Katie, what can you do right now, focusing on progress, not perfection, on taking that daily and consistent action, regardless of whether or not you're perceivably winning or not from an outcome point of view. And I think that's something you've done really well, is that in the face of adversity, in the face of things not seeming like you're getting where you want to be, you've kept your head down, you've just focused on putting one foot in front of the other, and as a result, the outcome has come, and you're achieving amazing goals.
Thank you.
What's been the biggest change internally for yourself? Because we talk about the body transformation, but with you again, I really want to hone in on what's been a couple of big breakthrough moments for yourself, or the biggest turnaround that you've felt reconnected with the truest part of yourself.
I think it would be looking at my own body and my own self, and being able to see things that I like. I've always had a pretty bad relationship with my body. I've never liked it, even when I was fit and healthy. And that's starting to change. I've still got 10 kilos to go until I'm at my ultimate goal as far as my weight goes. But I'm already able to look at myself, and I'm feeling strong, and and I'm feeling that sense of self-love that I can kind of see what it might look like one day, not be in this battle anymore, and I never knew what that might look like.
Yeah.
Just living and just training because it feels good, not necessarily to completely change myself.
Yeah. So it sounds like the shift of perspective, particularly that onus or the focus has really changed from being like a negative driver to almost this positive sort of, well, this can be enjoyable in the sense of an everyday part of life as opposed to something you have to do to, tick boxes or feel a certain way.
Yeah, that's right. And now I have to do it because I want to do it. And then if I don't train during the week, I feel like I've missed out. Like I just want to get back to my workout.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell me about your husband, an incredibly supportive man, I know, and kids. How has their response been to you, following through, stepping up, and they're obviously seeing a changed mummy.
Yeah, they are.
What's been their response to your changes?
My husband just told me the other day that he was really proud of me, and that was really nice to hear because my battle with my weight, it gets to him as well.
Yeah.
He struggles with it because it's been such a long time. And I like having him come up behind me and hug me and say that he likes the way that I feel and he can feel my muscles and things like that. And I think the other day he said that he was really proud of my persistence.
Amazing.
That he really respected the person who I was becoming out of all the things that we've been through in the last year as well.
Yeah.
And just this morning I was watching one of my kids on the Fitball as well and telling me I'm doing my exercising, and I love the influence that that's having on my kids, that they're watching the things that I'm doing now, and that's just becoming part of who they are.
Yeah.
Especially my little girl, that if I bring this into our everyday life, that's not a battle that she'll have to make as an adult because it'll just be natural for her.
Yeah. Something I loved that you said the other day in our coaching call was that you truly did believe, and you do believe, that you can stop a generational lineage in terms of a poor perspective of self or body weight image or whatever it is. And the thing that I love about what you're doing and what we're doing with you on your program is changing your perspective, which is changing that lineage, and it's changing that future pathway that your kids, your daughter, are going to walk down with a healthy perspective on body and life and training and fitness.
Yeah. So I suppose it goes back to what you said about when you take that time out for yourself and we feel guilty about it. When our kids watch us do that, they won't have to make that fight when they're older. It'll just be naturally in them. And I think I love watching that happening in my kids now as I go through this journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is your chance to speak joyfully about this program in the sense of how it's worked for you. What would you say is the best thing about this program in terms of it's obviously worked and it's working for you, and you've said you've tried so many other things in the past that haven't worked as well or haven't worked at all. Why has this program worked so well for you, and what do you think is the best thing about it in terms of your transformation?
So the other things that I tried, I think, only focused on the physiological aspect, whether it be a diet or your exercise or both, whereas this has a huge mindset focus. And I think the reason why I was where I was at was because I believed things that weren't true or weren't right. And when I speak to you, Jay, or the girls online, and we lay our thoughts out there and let ourselves be vulnerable to each other, gives us a chance to disagree with those thoughts.
Totally. And
to see a different option, basically just shedding light and truth on what you thought was reality and give an idea that it might not necessarily be that.
Well, I think you touched on a really interesting point just before about the application of this program being not face-to-face, and the connection point, what you're talking about with the other girls, obviously the private group forum where you have 24 hours, 7 days a week access to in terms of asking questions and
Yeah.
contributing and obviously having content there that I'm uploading. The interesting point to me with this program, and it's a key element for a lot of people I notice, is that number one, it makes you be 100% responsible for you. So
Yeah.
although you're fully guided, you've got the full strategy laid out for you, you've got me in your corner, you've got the other girls supporting you as well, and we're coaching you through that process. Ultimately, if you want that result, there's no trainer there at the gym looking at his clock saying,
Yeah.
well, where's Katie? Katie's not here. The ultimate responsibility lies with you and the girls, and I think that's one of the key elements. The other key element, which I think you touched on, is the online component actually, I think, enables a lot of you to be more vulnerable than you probably would be if you were in a face-to-face group environment or a face-to-face, training environment. And I think, I think you've really highlighted something that's important, because it really is about, I say change starts in the mind, and it really is about becoming vulnerable to yourself first and foremost in a supportive environment, which you've done incredibly well. So tell me, this is your opportunity to, I want you to imagine that you're speaking to yourself, let's go 3 or 4 months ago, you're at the very start of your transformation, you hadn't yet stepped up, and you were filled with fear in the sense of, can I do this? This is an investment, not just time, money, resources. I have to actually apply myself and follow through and work my ass off to get to where it is I want to be. What would be your top advice, or 1, 2, 3 pieces of advice that you could give anyone watching this that is on that place where they want to change? They've tried things in the past, they're at that point of decision, but they're filled with fear and they're not sure if they can do it. What would your advice be?
Just do it. Don't think too much about it, and don't be afraid of it. It's not just one, the option that's the same as all of the other ones. That this is the place of support, and disagree with the nonsense story that you've got in your head that you can't do it, and make the first step, and you'll be brought through it. Like, you've got this cheer squad ahead of you that's encouraging you to keep going.
Would you say that your time investment, your money investment, your focus, your participation in this program has been well worth it?
Yeah, I had to change around some priorities. It wasn't necessarily a matter of, did I have the resources or not? I just had to change my priorities to make this a top priority for the time being.
I love it. I love it. And the results are speaking for themselves. We're not there yet. We're well in progress. We've got a little way to go yet, but I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that you're absolutely going to achieve every single goal that you've laid out for yourself because of the change perspective that you have and the way that you're approaching this. So well done, you. We salute you, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Katie. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.